We welcome you live to Providence, Rhode Island and Lennon Family Field for the first of two semifinal matchups. It's the Big East Tournament. It has returned to Friartown. A pleasant good afternoon to you all for our entire Big East Digital Network crew and my broadcast partner, the Doctor, the All-American, the coach, Karen Weaver. My name is Chris Farmer. These two squads squared off a couple of weeks ago. It was Old Dominion, got out to an early lead, then held on to a 3-2 victory. Plenty of offense on the Temple side. Amber Utes had a goal in that game. She's the standard bearer, quite frankly, coach in the nation.
She's a tremendous player, a senior for Temple, but don't overlook their defense as well. You got Lizzie Millen in the goal, who's been in the goal for 82 games this year for Temple. Over 4 years, that's a remarkable record.
Now, it's more about balance offensively for Old Dominion. 3 different goal scorers in that game, but the leader of that very talented pack is Sarah Breen, the Australian.
Sarah Breen is just phenomenal. She distributes the ball so well. She balances out the attack, and I like the fact that Old Dominion has balanced scoring.
You talked about consistency in goal. Well, certainly head coach Andrew Griffiths has that with Megan Hept, as she will make her 14th start of the season. Hept, one of the best within the Big East, comes in with a goals against average of just 1.53.
And Old Dominion really comes in on a roll. The only hiccup in the last few weeks was their last game, which was against North Carolina, a 5-1 loss. But I wonder if Coach Griffiths was not challenging his team, getting them ready for this tournament. These two teams are evenly matched. They played each other, as you mentioned, 3-2 last time out. Temple's hungry. They want to win.
You'd have to imagine for Coach Griffiths to schedule such a difficult matchup. Everyone knew North Carolina was going to be among the best in the nation, maybe not necessarily number one going into that game. But you have to know your team and how they may or may not respond to that. But it is an interesting move because it ended what was a 5-game winning streak.
That's absolutely right. Both teams only lost twice in the month of October, which is pretty telling. One's ranked 16th in the nation, one's ranked 17th. I look for a great game today.
So it will be Old Dominion with the center pass to get things underway. It is Valagra, and she'll send it back. Old Dominion will move right to left across the screen, and there's slate blue, the cerulean blue, and the silver. Well, it's Temple in the white jerseys trimmed with the cherry and black. And just underway. First of two semifinals from Lennon Family Field here in Providence, Rhode Island. Great weather today. It's been raining all week long up here in the Northeast. But the sun broke at about 11 o'clock this afternoon, or this morning, I should say. And we've got sunny skies with some clouds off in the distance. Old Dominion sort of struggling to get their rhythm going, trying to build, but they can't choose an avenue, be it middle, left, or right. Temple tries to get a little bit of a pressure on them, but it's taken away by Old Dominion. That's Ro Valagra, one of the first team unanimous all Big East selections on the club, along with Breen, who we mentioned a moment ago, and Kelsey Smither, who from time to time may get overlooked within this offense because they've got so many options.
She's a tremendous player, tremendous asset. What I like right now is Temple's doing a nice job of pressing. They're really trying to force Old Dominion backwards, which so far has been very successful.
Here you see Breen with her first real touch. She'll send it back. That's Emily Harding, the outstanding junior, who played at Warwick High School in Pennsylvania. We'll see a lot of players from Pennsylvania over this weekend up here in Friartown. Not only is it a hotbed and a real breeding ground for field hockey talent, but you've got teams primarily located in the north playing here as well.
Absolutely. There are lots of good Pennsylvania. The Lancaster-Lebanon area is a tremendous area for both squads. We also have an international flavor as well.
That's one way that the game has really grown collegiately speaking. You've got a lot of international talent, and the rules have been loosened up a bit to allow stuff that typically you only really saw in the men's game.
Absolutely. It's really opening up the play a little bit more, and teams are taking advantage of it, getting more creative.
Well, again, it's Old Dominion who is hemmed in. They enter 11-7 overall, 17th ranked in the nation. And they're the number 2 seed here in the Big East tournament with a 4-1 record through the year. 5-1, I should say. Here's a dribble move on the outside of the circle. That's Katie Foran, the sophomore out of Dauphine, Pennsylvania. It's taken away from her, but stopped on that clearing bid. El Hept will send it to the middle. Now Temple will go back to go forward. Swept aside by Taylor Schronk. Schronk, one of 4 players on this squad that has started every game in the 3 years, this being the 61st consecutive start for the Pottstown, Pennsylvania native.
Again, Temple doing a nice job of just controlling the midfield, not letting Old Dominion much past the 30-yard line. And now at this point, Temple has maintained a little bit of momentum. They've gotten into the circle a couple of times. I got to look for Amber Yuntz and Katie Foran, their high school teammates, to kind of partner up. We got to keep an eye on that during the game.
What a luxury to have two players who've excelled at this level on the same high school program back at Central Dauphine High School. Temple trying to get it out of their own zone. Walsh picks it off. She'll tightrope the sideline, push it ahead, but that one's going to be too far in front of her intended target. It was deflected by a Temple player, so possession stays in down that far side of the field. Breen tackled and taken away, and then a whistle. The officials for today's game, Stephanie Judifine and Judy Strong up here in the booth with us, Bob Carrera. Again, just underway, 35-minute halves. And we're just about 4 minutes into this opening half. Very uneven stuff. Smither will go middle for Breen. Breen, nice little pass behind her for Rova Lagra, tackled away. Beautifully done by Nicole Kroner.
Temple's doing such a nice job of just holding their tackles and staying balanced, not overcommitting, and that's really playing to their strengths right now.
We'll get that pushing from the far sideline, scoop style. Played well off of the hop, knocked down by Schronk. She'll sweep it to the far side. Stretch pass is picked off by Breen. She'll dribble a bit, try to decide what she's going to do and send it middle for Smither. Read well by the back check. That's Utes. First time we've really seen her get a chance to do anything. It's in a defensive posture. And it trickles out of bounds on the near sideline.
Good chance. Temple's going to look to move it around the back, open up the space a little bit.
Schronk sweeps it, almost picked off. A big gamble coming forward. That pass by Schronk just strong enough. Unfortunately, the Owls can't turn it into offense. Offensively speaking, Temple averages a little more than 3 goals per game. Second best in the Big East behind only Providence, who we'll see later. The number 4-seeded Friars will take on the top seed, the defending national champion Huskies of Connecticut.
This is a high-scoring conference. If you like scoring, these 2 games are for you today because there'll be a lot of shots, a lot of chances for opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net.
Old Dominion, the 4th-ranked offense, you're right. On the near sideline, you've got the freshman Brown, Allentown, Pennsylvania native. Again, Temple goes backwards. Schronk had it hop on her, sends it to the near side. A very good pressurizing team is Old Dominion. They sneak in on you, and all of a sudden you realize you're 3 yards further back than you were the last time you tried to get it out of your own zone.
They have good reach. You
And
know,
then
they
you're
really
inside
do.
the circle.
Good distribution skills, looking left and right. Temple's a little hemmed in right now in the back there. Ellie Hempton, number 27, has really got to distribute the ball more quickly to get the ball out of the 25-yard end zone there, defensive end.
Knocked down. This one will get blown dead, and Temple will take over after the violation. It'll be Hep to get it going.
Having trouble finding spaces and having trouble with even just with hitting the ball. So this is going to create opportunities for Old Dominion.
Valagra to the middle, knocked away, nicely done. That's the second time we've seen Kroner make a play. Does it a third time, that hopped up on her.
Awarded
Just
the
outside.
penalty corner.
Looked to me as if she might have been a bit outside the circle, but not much of a descent coming from the Temple player, so the first penalty corner of the game.
Absolutely. Good scoring opportunity for Old Dominion here. Let's see if they run any options or just a straight shot.
115th penalty corner of the season for Old Dominion. They come in 4th in the conference in converting. You see Breen up top. She is the primary hitter. And this is going to be Valagra who will insert to the left of that Temple net. About 7 minutes into the action. The best opportunity by far for either team. Cleanly stopped. Oh, they got a set piece on. The shot trickles through, but it's kicked aside on the twisting, turning motion. The last minute looked as if Millen got it with the heel.
She did. Lizzie Millen did a nice job of adjusting to that dump pass and being able to stand up, but she didn't quite get her pad squeezed tight, so that's why the ball redirected off the end line.
Valagra sort of coyly looked her off, and then almost a no-look shot. She'll play it back. Nice move that time, was knocked off the stick of Furman. Now upfield come the Owls. Utes Good transition defense that time. Smither got back to knock it away, but still going to be Owls ball.
You listen there, the official gave a hard whistle because she did not like the fact that Old Dominion knocked the ball away, slowing the play down. So she's warning the players right now, saying, if you keep knocking the ball away, I'm going to card you.
Pass was a little bit short. Hempt had a gamble, came forward. That one came up off her leg, so it'll be Old Dominion ball. Scoreless here in the opening third of this opening half. Ball's played back to one of the best in the conference, Megan Bias. She'll send it on the far side for Harding. Joining them on the left side, the left back, is Barahona, an outstanding sophomore from Santiago, Chile. And there she is. Moves it to the middle. Pass comes out a little bit longer that time for Cassandra Wagner. Taken away by Utes. She breaks down the near side along with Paige Gross. And again, Old Dominion, they're content to get that whistle, so it gives them an extra second to get back and be in their defensive positioning. Gross tried to run around it to the end line. It was stopped there. Kroner gives it back to the Monarchs.
Pretty evenly matched at this point. Both teams kind of feeling each other out, seeing where the weaknesses might be. If I were to say any weakness right now, I would say it'd be in Temple's right back area. They just haven't been able to clear effectively. But both teams have got to pick up the pace a little bit. Right now, there's a little bit too slow.
Villagra, you get to see those 3D stick skills as she goes through a couple of Owls. Couldn't quite get around the third, as Schronk was able to just get a piece of it. Spinning move by Furman. She'll try it again. Villagra on the near flank. Gave that one up for Cassandra Wagner. And the Owls will get it back as that one trickled away. A 16-yard hit on the near side. Long cross-field pass. Schronk sweeps it up. Very well defended that time on that forecheck by the Monarchs. Right up in front there was the freshman, Victoria Rosette, one of the Belgium players. Certainly that's a nation you point to that sends a lot of players over to the United States. We mentioned Australia. There is that international flair on the Old Dominion roster. A moment ago we mentioned Barahona, the Chilean.
No question. And Holland, Germany, Ireland, a wide range of countries have come to represent hockey in the U.S.
Meanwhile, this is not coming in second by any stretch of the imagination. One player on the roster from Temple isn't from Pennsylvania, and they're from New Jersey, and that's not too far away. And that is the redshirt freshman, Taylor Janney. Everyone else from the Keystone State. A little more than 10 minutes into the action, we are still scoreless on what has turned out to be an unseasonably warm, albeit a little bit windy autumn day here in the Ocean State. Utes, look at that speed and the handle on the dribble as she makes her way through traffic.
That's really what one of her greatest strengths is, Chris, is her ability just to control the ball at speed so
Loose
far out
for
in front.
light. The backhand bid was kicked away. First real test for Megan Hept, and she proved up to it. But we're going to get a penalty corner on the action inside the circle. So the initial save was made.
Old Dominion not sure exactly why the corner was called, getting an explanation from Judy Strong.
So the insert will come from Kroner. 9 assists, leads the team. That's one of the best in the entire Big East. 6th overall. And you see Utes ready to hit.
She's on their lead battery.
You've got Paige Gross ready for the stick stop. She will. Utes will take it to her right, drive, block down in front. Bias got a stick on it. Still Temple will control. Swept towards the middle by Alyssa Delp. Now no room to shoot for Sarah Deck, so it's whipped away on the near end line. And it'll be Gross to get things going again. Good lateral movement that time defensively by Wagner. Still the ball goes through to Kroner, but pops up off of her stick. Goes out of bounds. Last touch by one of the Monarchs from the end line. We'll get the push in. Defense really collapsing around Gross that time. The pass to Villagra just a little bit off the mark, so it ends up remaining Temple possession. On the offensive third of the field, Hep, good solid whack at that one. Went off one of the Monarchs up high, so still the ball stays down this end of the field. Cronin with a long hit. Taking away Villagra. She's got some good speed and some good handle as well. Turn the hand over, now sends it to the far side of the field.
Good ball movement there. Excellent ball movement. Just needs to be crisper.
Rosette played it back for Breen. It was knocked away very well, in fact, by Delp. Momentarily kept the pressure off the circle area. Now it's swept to the far side. You get a real indication right there, a fine example of just how quickly Old Dominion can transition on you.
That was really important. If they just put a little more pace on their passes, they really might have been able to take advantage of that offensive pressure and gotten it inside the circle. So it's just a little tentative right now. If they can pick it up just a little bit more, I think they'll be able to find some openings.
Breen will try it again. Villagra comes to her. The pass completed. Drives it middle. Oh, terrific handle that time to stop that missile that was coming in. A little bit dangerous that time by Walsh with the stick held high.
But still solid defense in a difficult situation by Temple there.
Speaking of handle, how about that twisting grab made by Grega?
Beautiful.
She's the Wyoming Valley West graduate in her first season down in Norfolk.
She did a nice job of bringing the ball around the defender's stick side and nearly created a shot on goal.
Smither reached, couldn't control it. That's breaking away by Utes. 3 players come in on her, and it's Smither who walks away with it. Moves it into the corner. Villagra bumped, getting right into the action that time. Croner. Villagra with the self-start a little bit too quickly. They'll play it back. This time she'll allow Wagner for Smither. Didn't get good wood on that one. Still, she gets it all the way across field for Walsh. Breen turns her back, sweeps it forward. Walsh inside the circle. Centers, drive, scores! The goal goes to Rosette. Her 3rd on the season, and the Monarchs take the lead in the 15th minute of this opening half.
Just not much there Millen could do. It really came across very quickly at pace, and that's what we were talking about earlier. If they can pick up the pace of the passes, chances are more opportunities will be there.
It's been a long time coming since the freshman's last goal 10 games ago against James Madison. But she drills that one and gives her team the 1-0 lead. In the last game, it was Old Dominion who jumped out very early in the opening 10 minutes of play with 2 quick goals. Temple ended up playing catch up and tied it up at 2 before they went to the break. And then the only goal in the second half went to Old Dominion, and they walked out of there with a 3-2 win.
Again, tight contest, so expect to see that again here today. Would be very surprised to see a one-sided match.
It was Caitlin Walsh, the second-team All-Big East selection, who had the game winner in that one. The other goals belonged to Goff and Furman. Here, it's Rosette, the freshman, and Old Dominion with the lead. Long outlet pass beyond Breen, so a chance for the Owls. Breen picks that entry pass off. Trying to curl her way around the defense, lost it momentarily, but one of her teammates right there to pick her up. That was Smither. Comes from an outstanding family of hockey players.
Good double team there by Paige Gross, working hard with Amber Utes.
Smither, second team All-Big East this year, or I should say she's a 2-time first team All-Big East selection. Second team All-American last year. You'd imagine she'll get that nod again this year. Also All-South region in 2013. Light had a chance a moment ago. It was saved by Hept. And now Brown will, nope, she's going to leave it for Croner, who will start things up just off the top of that circle. Darts to her left, tried to sweep it inside. Defended well by Smither. Second team All-South region in 2012, so 3 straight years for the senior when she's received honors from her conference and nationally at the end of the regular season. All Colonial Athletic Association selection back in her sophomore year. Nice move by Breen. She split the wickets on Kroner, who then stepped up and got her with the body. So we'll have a little bit of a delay. Will allow transition defensively for the Owls.
See how long it took to get that play off, Chris? It really makes a difference if you can just take it quickly and get your numbers ahead. And that's one of the things that I would tell Old Dominion right now is try to get your free hits, your self-starts off quicker so that you can capitalize on the momentum of the game.
Not quite a tackle, but what a poke by Harding, who has the ball right now. A moment ago on Utes, who was getting ready to throw on the afterburners. And there was space behind that back line within the Old Dominion defense, but that subtle touch by Harding was able to keep Utes and Temple at bay. Walsh into the middle. That one rolls over the stick of Breen. She says, I got it, Smither. Plays it on back to Bias. Barahona. Valagra right back to her teammate. Back further for Bias. Tried to build on the left. It wasn't there. Let's see what the right offers. Long pass deflected on the Temple side of the field. Hempt. That's the third time that she's had trouble on a clearing bid where it's just jumped right up over her stick.
And Old Dominion needs to take advantage of that now because that's clearly a weak spot in Temple's really strong defense right now.
Scooped up by Smither. Walsh will try to chase it down. Maybe Brown got a piece of it because Old Dominion's awarded possession. Walsh into the middle. She was looking for Furman, who made a run, but it's taken away. Swept out. Schronk has been very good so far this afternoon.
Again, the urgency of getting to the ball, getting it off quickly would really make a difference in this game. If one team is able to have that energy about changing the momentum, that will make a difference because right now they're both kind of matching each other for energy.
In the Old Dominion end, chance now for the Owls. Through the middle, that one rolls off the stick of Ferran.
Ferran wide open in front, now just picked up.
Swept in beautifully. Ferran with the goal. You called it, Coach. And Gross found her.
Great setup. Taking the ball down to the end line, looking for that sweet spot right at the top of near the penalty stroke mark, and Ferran's right there and just says, let me just put it in the back of the net.
Team leading 11th assist on the season for the sophomore Paige Gross. And for Ferran, she now has 6 goals on the year. Goals in back-to-back games as well. She had one of the 3 against Connecticut and the loss that ended the regular season. So with just under 15 minutes left to play in this opening half, it's a different complexion than it was 5 minutes ago. Tied up 1-1.
It is because right now you're just all of a sudden the energy level is picked up a little bit. You know, Temple's excited because they scored. Old Dominion wants to get it back. And if they can just start to pick up the pace, I think they'll see more openings.
There's Breen up at the top. She finished with a flurry at the end of the regular season, did Breen. Final 3 games, gathered 3 goals, but was held scoreless against their final opponent, North Carolina. A bit of a demoralizing 5-1 loss in that game. The only goal scored by Harding, though, is on a penalty stroke early through. This is a penalty corner. And we'll see if Old Dominion can get that lead back. Just under 14 minutes left to play opening half here in Friartown. Great to have you with us on the Big East Digital Network.
Chris, you talk about Sarah Breen. You know, rarely do coaches agree on one thing, but they all agreed that Sarah Breen deserved to be first team all Big East.
Bias swept through, but knocked down by Kroner. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think most people would agree with that.
It's unusual. And there was a few of them this year. I mean, Casey Smither, Rosario Valagra, all unanimous choices in the Big East Conference. Tremendous respect for those players.
Into the middle, knocked down. The defense there again for the Owls. Now the transition. Foran, the goal scorer. She's looking for her old high school teammate, finds her in the middle, but momentarily at least, Barahona slowed it down, used the body to do so, so Temple keeps the possession. You've got a new left back over here now. Coach, you'd mentioned it earlier that they're maybe struggling with it a bit. Now you've got Ali Mazeros, the sophomore.
Yeah, that's a smart move at right back there. Ali Mazzero's coming in. Maybe he feels a little more confident with their receiving skills and her hitting skills right now. Because if I was Old Dominion, I'd be attacking that left back, right back position very, very deliberately.
That one goes over Mazzeros' stick, not a play. That one was coming in hot. Smither gave it a good whack. Now attacking from the near side. That attack was brief on the giveaway.
Old Dominion with a good opportunity here, but again, taking so much time to get the transfer going here. Gives Temple plenty of time to set up.
Not quite the golden days when stalling was a big part of it all.
Not at all. You want to keep the ball moving.
There's more patience. Down low. Patiently going one-on-one, but losing the battle was Walsh. It was won instead by Schronk. Played up towards midfield all the way to the back line. Bias there, as she often is. Sweeps it through a pack of players and then knocked out of play off of one of the forwards for Old Dominion. I think it was Walsh. And we'll get that push in from the far side.
You see Old Dominion looking to move the press around quickly. That's good adjustment right there by Old Dominion. Unfortunately, inadvertently hit to Temple player's stick, so Temple regains control. But Old Dominion doing a nice job of trying to create pressure up front on that transfer so that they can possibly pick up an interception.
And you watch, you can already see Furman starting to get a little bit closer every time she surges forward. She's getting ready to pounce, and she almost did a moment ago.
Well, if the defender's not handling the ball well, then she absolutely should be doing that.
Knocked out of midair that time by Gross, who set up the lone goal of the game for Temple at this stage. If you joined us a little bit late, first of all, great to have you with us. Thanks for inviting us into your home or office on the beginning of your weekend, the gateway of the weekend, if you will. It's championship weekend here in Providence. The goals by Furman. Her 6th of the season on the opposite side. Rosette second. Another chance for Temple in tight. Yutz has it knocked away. Bias quickly out of the circle. Handled very well by Villagra. A little bit tense for a moment there, but they took care of that. Now the battle ensues between the two. The goal scorer, Rosette, and then you've got Kroner. Drives it forward, deflected, but still onto the stick of the leading scorer, Yutz, and she blows it by the goaltender.
You know, I was almost surprised at that, Chris. That had more velocity than I thought it would coming off of her stick, but that ball just jumped off her stick. And the reverse stick like that, you don't know how high or how low it's going to go. But it's very difficult to defend as a goalkeeper.
What skill to get the hand turned over, and as you said, generate that level of pace. The goal, a nation-leading 27th. First in the Big East, Amber Yutz, the leading active goal scorer in the entire nation. 64th overall, and speaking about all Big East performers, first team all Big East as well, back-to-back seasons.
First team all everything, huh?
Big East Offensive Player of the Year. She shows you exactly why. She deposits her 27th of the season and gives Temple their first lead. That's something they haven't tasted all season long against the Monarchs.
And again, you can look at the history, and the history does not favor Temple in this situation, but if you look at the way they've played the last couple of years, Temple has every reason to believe that they can knock off Old Dominion in this game.
You can understand why she has so many shots when you can do that from that distance.
Yeah, that's
she
impressive.
just made sure she crossed the line, and then she drilled it. 105 shots on the season. The closest to her is in the 60s. I mean, she's blowing everybody away in this conference.
She creates the openings for herself. That's the thing that I really like about Amber, is that she has these openings that she finds, and then she takes advantage of them. She doesn't wait for somebody to give her the ball. She actually creates the space herself.
She created it that time. And a beautiful pass to get it in the interior for her. And now Old Dominion, who was cruising along about 7 or 8 minutes ago, now has to dig deep, try to get the equalizer.
Play catch up a little bit, yeah.
That's something that the folks at Temple will tell you about their first matchup. They felt they gave up a couple of quick ones, perhaps on mistakes or, just by not really taking control of the action, playing their game. And last night, Coach Janney told me there's no way I'm going to let my team fall behind like that. They played catch up the whole game, pretty much played them even in the second half, but you got that one goal by Walsh with a little bit more than 13 minutes left, and that was the difference.
Good movement by Rosario Villagra. Good pressure, good speed, taking it right at Temple, forcing the foul. Interesting change, but again, because the reception takes so long, Temple can gather themselves and get in position.
Harding sends it forward. Breen will play it to the middle. That's where she finds Smither. Oh, nice job by Wagner turning the stick over. She fights through one, drives. That one's deflected high off of the screen.
She had her eye on that far corner. You could see she looked up just long enough to see where her opening was, and she was looking at that far corner.
Breen started coming forward, backs up on the defense. Nice pass to find Walsh. Centers for Wagner, kicked away by the defense. Gross has been everywhere on both ends of the field, setting up the goal and defensively tight in her own end. Barahona tripped up. Breen with a little bit more urgency. Number 7 comes forward with 7 minutes left, but it's picked off. Read very nicely again by Gross, now making plays in the midfield. Plays it back. Krona will sweep it to the far side. Ferran has one of the goals, but she couldn't control that on the first touch. And it's Old DU's ball.
Good quick transition there for ODU, taking advantage of it. Let's see if they can keep that momentum going. It's taken them a while to get set up here.
They'll play to Breen on the inside. Cross to Smither. Swept forward. Handled there by Wagner. She was trying to get it to Villagra. Deflected now on the inside. It's Rosette. She lost control of it. But I believe that a corner is going to be called.
That's what the signal was.
You could see just how disappointed that Temple defender was. He buckled over as if to say, what did we do on that one? And now the officials will come together. Judified and Strong will talk it over.
Want to make sure they get the call right.
Coaches will get informed now. It looks to me like it's going to be a 16-yard hit. Nope, they'll just take it outside the circle.
Almost looks like a bully. So offsetting foul, so this is how you do a restart.
The rarely seen bully.
Rarely.
Now Breen wins it cleanly. Wagner jumps over the stick of the defender, Deck. Now Temple will move it forward. Under 6 left to go. They lead 2-1. It was Old Dominion who jumped out on top first. We talked about the balance of Old Dominion at the beginning of the broadcast. Don't want to overlook how talented the folks and the Owls are as well.
Well, again, you mentioned the Central Dauphin pair of Foran and Utes. I mean, they know each other so well. They've been playing together for 5, 6 years now.
There is Yacht Centers at that time for Delp. Got away from her to Foran, and now it's Old Dominion who's upset with the call.
Interesting, because there was a call, a free hit outside the circle coming in, but because Old Dominion played it away, the official had warned earlier that she was going to do that, so she awarded a penalty corner to Temple.
So a chance now for the Owls. It's going to be Kroner, the insert. And you've got 2 options. Gross, who already has an assist, or Rachel Steinman, the junior back who comes all the way up. It'll be Steinman. The drive, deflected. They worked on that in the pregame, trying to work it down low to Amanda Furch.
Executed very, very well. It was a really nicely paced hit. Well, not too hard, stayed smooth on the ground. Really nicely executed.
So now Bias will look to the right side, plays it over for Harding. Temple backs up a bit, gives her room. She finds Breen with a nice long diagonal pass. Oh, nice little juke move that time. She bluffed, pulled it in tight. It's Gross who goes down to the turf, and it's coming back this direction.
And again, Chris, pay attention to that hard whistle that the official just gave. She just said, I don't want any more of that. So the next whistle that happens in that foul situation could very well mean a card and a suspension for the player.
Erin pass, Gross looked upset. I think she wanted to play that one closer to the sideline. Instead, back in there at right back is Elle Hemp. She sent it wide downfield.
Megan Bias really frustrated with herself, trying not to lift the ball that way at the Temple attackers, but she ended up costing her team field position here.
Kroner out towards midfield, surveys what she has for options, turns the stick over and brings it inside. A little bit of a set play that time for Gross, who is cutting middle. Deflected out of bounds by one of the Monarchs. Nearing the 32-minute mark of this opening half. It played well in the backhand by Yutz. She couldn't get herself through Breen. Nicely took it away.
Great restart. Excellent by Old Dominion. First time I've seen them do that this half.
This is the part of the half where fitness becomes a real factor. Villagra taken away. Oh, that's outstanding stuff by Schronk, but then a late whistle, and it's Old Dominion who will keep it. Inside the circle, Furman. The senior's furious with the no call. Played upfield by Schronk. Now Yutz. Excellent transition by Villagra. She'll play it to the near side for Delp. Barahona jumps right up in her face. And on the back check, it's Furman. Still, Delp won't be denied. Knocked away on the near side, and she'll push it in just over midfield as we near 2 minutes remaining in the opening half of play. Hemp isn't sure what the call is going to be. She'll send it to the middle. Kroner to the far side. Now you see there is Furman getting right up, maybe trying to steal one away and in turn thieve a goal at the end of the half. Erin pass coming to the middle could lead to a breakaway for someone with her types of speed.
Well, it's Chris, funny you mentioned that because I was just thinking if Temple were to pull up a little bit more, they might open up the gap a little bit and give themselves some room to maneuver. Right now they're pretty compressed.
Gross plays it to the middle. Deck runs away from Breen, plays it back. Kroner will drive it to the inside off a couple of sticks before it's finally handled by Smither. Deck got a little bit too much of the body in front of her. And now a restart for Old Dominion. Wagner. Serving middle was just going to play it down. This is a field position play. That one's too far in front of her hustling teammate. Final minute here at Lennon Family Field. There's another field position try. No chance for Ferran to get to that. She's got one of the two goals. Her and her high school teammate both connecting. Amber Yutz, the go-ahead goal at this point, as Temple looks to advance to the Big East Tournament Finals for the first time since becoming a member of the conference a couple of seasons back. Under Amanda Janney, they've gone to now 10 consecutive tournaments. Overall, as a school, they've gone to 12 straight conference tournaments, so berths in the postseason for a dozen straight years. Under Janney, a couple of finals appearances as well. Back in 2009, 2011, both times falling to Richmond, who's a real powerhouse down there in the Colonial as well. Final 10 seconds. Yutz trying to run away from the defense. She does enough as the half comes to a close. So Old Dominion gets the early nod, but Temple takes control of the game somewhere at the midway point, and they supersede the Monarchs' effort in that second half, put two up there, and now they're kind of in the catbird seat.
I like the way Temple played at the end of the half. I think they played very well. Consistent defense. That last penetration by Old Dominion into the circle was critical, and Temple came up with a big stop. So I like Temple's momentum coming into this half.
You see Bias down there asking something of the official. Kroner's not going to let her get the edge, so she comes over. Now you've got coaches from either side in there. It seems like everyone's satisfied with what the officials had to say. So 2-1 is our score. We're at the half now in the first of 2 semifinal games here in the Big East tournament. If the remaining 3 halves of hockey are as good as that first half, we are, as expected, in for a whale of an afternoon.
Should be great.
2-1, Temple in front, halftime, game 1 of the first Big East semifinal. Of course, it's on the Big East Digital Network. Second half set to begin here at Lennon Family Field. Great to have you with us for our outstanding Big East Digital Network crew and my broadcast partner, Dr. Karen Weaver. My name is Chris Fama. 2-1 in favor of Temple, the number 3 seed of 4 in this Big East Conference tournament. Old Dominion, the number 2 seed, won the only game these two teams played against one another this regular season, 3-2. That was a couple of weeks back on the 17th of October, and really, quite frankly, Old Dominion's won just about everything between these two teams historically, Coach. A very one-sided rivalry.
21-1. Yeah, I'd say it's one-sided, but right now, Temple has the fire in the belly. Temple is hungry for this match. They're playing at a higher level throughout the first half. Let's see how the second half shapes up.
You mentioned the one victory back in the early 80s. There was a tie as well. Those are both back in the early 80s, but it's been 20 consecutive wins by Old Dominion over Temple.
You know, and one of the things that most people don't realize is that Old Dominion's had a field hockey team since 1974, but Temple has had a formation of a field hockey team since 1914. They celebrated their 100th anniversary this year.
It's interesting that as I'm told this story, they were digging through some records. They found an old picture, and they were able to document it as 1914, but
Still cool.
I think there was some
Still
lean
cool.
years for the field hockey program as well, but not since they've got head coach Amanda Janney in there. They've done exceptional things over the last 9 years, and now this her 10th. Janney, the Wake Forest graduate back in '99, some successful coaching stops on her way to Philadelphia. Started off the high school ranks, went to her alma mater at Trinity Valley down in Fort Worth, Texas. There for a little while before moving on to Penn, where she spent a couple of seasons. JMU first, James Madison first, and then to Penn, and then finding a home in Philadelphia, and things are working very well. She's got a lot of energy, brings a certain swagger to this program. And they've been doing outstanding stuff. Finished ranked inside the top 20 at the end of last season. Crept their way inside the top 10 at one point, as we see them stacked pads coming out of Lizzie Millen. And contact inside the circle, so we'll have our first penalty corner. And looks like one of the Monarchs is down as well. There's a lot of contact as Millen came out. That's Rovalagra who's slow to her feet. Breen tries to help her, but still bent over at the waist.
What created that penalty corner, Chris, was the explosion of Old Dominion taking the ball directly at the goal, directly at the goalkeeper, drawing a reaction by Temple that created the foul. So that's more of what Old Dominion needs to do in this particular half. They have got to step up the pace, actually shift it into another gear.
Now the clock is stopped. It's not running time. 35-minute half, so we've got 32-35 left to go, as you can see. And Valagra will remain in the game. Trainer, I should say, tried to sprint out on the field, but she's sent back. Valagra will do the inserting. Wagner is up there with Smither, Breen, and Bias. Look at her ready to pounce. It'll be Breen. Drives, kicked away. Millen right on top of it. Millen tops in the Big East, and goals against average coming into this tournament. 1.54 per game. Nice tackle on the far side of the field to start transition. It's Yutz.
Yutz again able to move the ball quickly through 4 Old Dominion defenders, and that's her strength. She's able to dribble so far away from her feet that she can see the field of play in front of her.
Old Dominion taking their time to get this restart in the far side of the field underway. Of course, the ball had trickled a little bit downfield. A lot of times you've got balls set up on the side there. There doesn't seem to be any, so there wasn't really much that they could do. Wagner plays it back for Barahona. Wagner again plays it for Valagra as Hempt sort of overran the play defensively. She wanted to curl back on Kroner. Read well by Delp, and now it's Temple who will come back in transition.
Delp did a very nice job of reading that play and not overcommitting. Again, that's one of the things that Temple has done well today, is they have stayed within themselves. They have not tried too much too soon.
Way out of the net that time by Hept, who kicks it aside with the left leg. Temple in the offensive third of the field. Into the circle, popped up on Ferran. She's got one of the 2 Temple goals. That time she couldn't control it. 16-yard hit upcoming. Harding looks right. That one off the foot of Light. Now she'll scoop it this time, tries it aerial style.
Good change of pace by Old Dominion there. They do need to mix it up because Temple's been able to close down those hits when they're on the ground.
Steinman got tackled up with Furman coming back. And now it's going to be Kroner who will take over. Deck deflected partially. Light couldn't control it. Well handled by Walsh, and now it's Rosette. She has the Old Dominion goal. For Smither in the middle. Barahona comes up. Tried to get it to Valagra, but Gross was there defensively. Well, she just threaded the needle on that pass for Ferran, who plays it back as the defense got there. Very nicely done by Smither and Breen, who put a tag team defensive effort that time. That one pops up. Furman no worse to wear. She'll play it for Rosette.
Quick restart right there. Again, Old Dominion sensing some urgency about this, and that's important for them.
How about Schronk on that tackle to knock it away? Schronk was the Big East Defensive Player of the Week last week, the only non-goalkeeper to be honored with that distinction all season long. You see why. She's just a rock solid right there in the center back position.
Very solid.
Another year left. That one comes up high on Deck, and it's going to go in the opposite direction as Walsh stepped in and impeded her with the body. So Steinman will try to get it going. Sorry, Coach.
I was just going to say, let's see if Old Dominion can get a press working here, and they can actually, there it is. They can step up and make the interception.
Oh, beautiful hands by Furman, who trickles it forward for Rosette. Over defensively, Schronk got away from her. So we'll move it to the sideline. That's where the push-in will come. It's going to be Breen. The versatility of all of these players on Old Dominion, it's really something to marvel at. Kicked aside quite well by Millen. All the way out to the 30-yard mark. Gets away from Harding, who retreats. She's got the press all up on her. That's Erin Van Horn, the junior from Pennsylvania. And now the turnover. Yutz working on Barahona. Easy to turn anybody around, but Barahona, the sophomore, sticks with her for the time being. Still, Yutz wins the battle overall, gets it right up to the top of that circle where Gross will self-start. Started right, comes back to the left, trying to weave through traffic, could not. Defensively, Smither was there.
Old Dominion did a better job that time of marking in the circle man-to-man so that they could clearly see where the player was. In the first half, they left a lot of space, and that's the reason Foreman's goal was so important, because she took advantage of that space.
Pass got away. Hepta read it, kicked it right back out to the left flank, and now a nice touch pass that time by Barahona. And it rolls up Walsh's stick on the feed from Smither.
Those kinds of turnovers really break your momentum. You've got to be able to receive the ball well under pressure.
We see some changes along the back line for Temple. Ali Mazzaros back into the game as Steinman gets a breather, but it's a giveaway on the far side. You don't get to really transition so quickly on the fly in this game. It moves a little bit more fluidly if it's in lacrosse and certainly within hockey. But that time Temple getting a chance to execute, get some fresh legs out there on that back line. They'll be tested right now, as once again Old Dominion has it in the offensive end. Not quite the circle. Harding handled it momentarily, bats it ahead, now drives. Knocked down by Mazzaros, freshly inserted into the game, turns her back. Trying to get away from Gregor and does, but gives it up to Walsh. Malagra tried to turn her stick on that one, couldn't handle it, it's Yutz. She breaks past, a little bit behind Light, who tried to make a spinning collection. Now we've got a call coming up against Harding, who sprints off with the card.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, because she's had several miscues along this series, and I know she's frustrated at everything, but she's got to learn to settle the ball first.
So 2-1 Temple in front, and now with the advantage of an extra attacker. Breen draws a crowd, loses a crowd, gains the crowd back, and then punches it to the near side. Still in control. Crosses over on deck, feeds it for Furman. Mazzaros reaches in. That's outside the circle.
Chris, I just love the defense that Sarah Deck played right there. It was tremendous. Good balance, good poise, didn't overcommit.
Deck, another one of those stalwarts. This her 61st consecutive start. I want to know how many college games she's played? 61.
They got a few of those in the Temple lineup, don't they?
They certainly do.
They find them, they like them, and they keep them in the lineup.
Steinman, Schron, Kroner, all. How talented is that class? And that's something that Coach Jenny certainly knows about. They've got a very good core of players. Kicked out by Millen on the long drive. That wouldn't have counted anyway for folks not familiar with field hockey. Unless it's deflected, needs to be touched or driven from inside that hitting circle. That one came in cleanly, but we're going to get a penalty corner called on the play.
Goalkeeper played the ball up near the head of an attacker from Old Dominion, so that's why the penalty corner is awarded. This would be a great opportunity for Old Dominion to get themselves kind of back into the game emotionally and really bring this game to a fever pitch.
Past the 10-minute mark of the second half of play. Old Dominion got the first goal. Came 14 minutes, 55 seconds in. Victoria Rosette, her first of the year, from Caitlin Walsh. They're going to switch it up a little bit. They've got a new inserter this time. That's Grega. The stop. Breen plays it for Valagra. Back to Breen. She's got space. Can she control it? It's off the crossbar. A leaping effort by Millen at the last moment. She pulled her hand down and guessed right, but wow.
Wow.
Game of inches.
That really could have been a spectacular goal. It was so close and well executed by Old Dominion, you know, giving up the give and go.
So now Temple dodges a bullet. Still in possession of that 2-1 lead. That one will get blown dead on the far side.
Again, a hard whistle. If you pay attention to these hard whistles, it'll tell you that something serious is coming. So now we have a green card on El Hemd from Temple.
She's been largely occupying that right back position. Temple also making some substitutions. A little bit of confusion on that substitution. Steinman back into the game. Van Horn comes out. Also, Brown, the freshman, checks out of the game.
Good patience by Temple there because they were playing a player down.
Nicely read and taken away by Smither. Feeds it forward for Gregor. Some fresh legs out there for the freshman from Kingston, PA. Knocked off of her stick. Old Dominion still in control. Or are they? Gregor thought she was going to get that from the inside, inserted on the sideline. She will not. Instead, they'll move it out to the 16-yard mark. Steinman will try to get it going. Just about to say to you a moment ago, Coach, haven't seen a lot of the aerial attack. Haven't seen a lot of the scoop passing today.
Have not been, and I'd like to see more of it because I think it does change the play up and forces people to reposition themselves a little differently.
It's not just about flash. It has a lot to do with tactical strategy. And something you didn't see, but in the last decade in the women's game.
They're just so much stronger. Their wrists, their forearms are so much stronger. They're able to do it at least from a standing start. The men are able to do it at top speed, which is a beautiful thing to watch.
Trying to tightrope that sideline was Rosette. Knocked away by one of the Temple defenders. Not a lot of room, but I'll tell you, the really talented players can set up shop down there and create some wonderful offensive chances. Look at Yutz, the speed.
That's unfortunate because in that situation you'd like to see the whistle held so that the player can continue playing, but that happens.
Stalls what might have been a fast break opportunity. The emphasis on the word fast when you're talking about that player. Should it hold up, she would have the game-winning goal. Be her league-leading 8th of the season. How about that? 13 wins this year for the Owls. 7 of them. The game winner going to Yutz. Here is Steinman. Gregor comes forward right away. Just a little token touch by Deck. Sent forward by Walsh to Breen. Nice reach by Furman. Villagra. Oh, how about that handle by Breen? Through 3 different players, right on the edge of the circle, knocked away, outside. It's going to be Temple ball. At what point, Coach, it's only a 1-goal deficit. We know that Old Dominion transitions very well, but at what point now, as we're 15 minutes into the second half, do you start to take some chances? Do you gamble a little bit? Do you become more aggressive on the offensive side of the field?
I think their pace is good right now. I think they're showing some assertiveness in the situation. They just have to execute basic skills. It just comes down to receiving the ball well, passing it well, taking advantage of the openings when they're there.
You see Brown aggressive with her press. That one's going to go all the way out, and it'll be Temple to get things going. Let's see a little switch up now. Deck will check out of the game. Temple's really starting to run players in and out more than we're seeing Old Dominion with their substitutions. On becomes Kayla Lockman, junior, played at Warwick. She, along with Emily Harding from ODU, high school teammates. Now foes in conference semifinal number 1. Game 2, 3:30 scheduled to start. The number 1 seed and defending national champion, Yukon Huskies, taking on the Friars, the host of this championship weekend here in Providence.
Old Dominion being very demonstrative about their disagreements with the calls, and you could argue that they ought to be spending their energy in playing the game rather than just yelling at the official and calling the game. And that's really allowing Temple to take advantage of their emotion at this point.
Lockman, good takeaway, but her transition pass came up high. Walsh knocked it down. Gave a chance momentarily to the Monarchs, but Rosette couldn't control it on the near side. So Steinman will try to get it going again. Hard drive. Breen knocks it down, controls it on the spin. Into the circle, a little bit too short on that pass. Paige Gross read it well. Gross the assist on the first goal of the game. Brown takes it away. Good stick on Harding. And now the foot chase is on. One-handed on Walsh. She leans in as she angles towards the goal. tried to spin, but there defensively was Smither. Earlier in the game, we had talked about how Gross was playing a 3-zone game, backfield, in the front end and in the middle. We've seen that from Smither today, and you do really every day from her, an outstanding talent. Yutz has one goal, an impressive drive from just inside the circle. Won't get a chance this time as it's taken away by Bias. Up for Goff. Goff faked outside, wanted to come inside. Steinman wasn't buying it.
You get the sense that as this game winds down, the fans are getting more of a sense of urgency, which is translating to the urgency in the players on the field.
Long pass to Furman. Had a player who fell down. Rosette, she'll try the shot. That one just taken right up into the chest by Mazzeros. And now we'll get a penalty corner.
Yeah, unfortunately, Temple was right in the way of what was legitimately a shot. The goalkeeper is questioning that, but, you know, in this situation, you absolutely have to award the penalty corner to Old Dominion.
Not quite certain who it was who lost their footing inside the circle, but that was set up for a brilliant 2-on-1. Furman saw her player down, her teammate down, opted to back up. There was really some good quick thinking on the fly that time. But that's what you get from players like Furman, redshirt seniors.
And Chris, last penalty corner, we saw a ball off the top crossbar. Maybe we'll see a give and go again.
Third inserter of the game. That one gets through everybody. Rosette out playing it about 30 yards away, takes it in right side, drives, blocked. That was Kroner who got on top of it, but we'll see another penalty corner coming up.
Signals coming in from the sideline. The coaches are making the call. They take a look at the defense, how the defense is set up, where they think the spaces are inside the circle.
Valagra will put it in, second on the team and assist with 10. I beg your pardon, tops on the team. That time Smither, the drive by Bias, blocked down low with the stick. Bias a second chance, and it's kicked away. Sliding effort that time by Millen.
Really nice play by Bias. She got off two very strong shots and really just took charge in the circle, and that's what we kind of need to see. We've seen a little bit from Breen, but we need some of the other players to really feel confident inside the circle, go at the goal, really challenge Millen.
Temple has held very well in their own end. Some chances for Old Dominion. And a stick handle through traffic that time, Kroner. Now the self-start. Threw it away to Walsh. Tried to feed Breen. Furman got a good touch on it. Handled well by Lockman as that one hopped. Plays it to the middle deck. Now she just fanned on that one. Yutz got a piece of it. Gross will try to chase it down, but Valagra's there. Time working against Old Dominion right now as they try to buy their way back into the title game last year. Lost in just excruciating fashion in overtime to Connecticut in their first year within the Big East. Let's say a transition that's gone awfully well.
Absolutely. I'm thinking about what Amanda Janney, AJ, is thinking right now. She's got to be not feeling very comfortable with just a one-goal lead. She's got to really be thinking, we got to get a second goal. That would make me feel a whole lot better.
Well, it's a team that averages over 3 per game against second in scoring output this season coming in. Only Providence has scored more goals. What an offensive resurrection they have had here in Friartown under head coach Diane Maddle.
Old Dominion starting to sustain some momentum here, trying to really force the ball in. Temple being back on their heels, trying to react versus being able to build it out of the back. I look for an opportunity here, Chris.
Schrong taken away to the inside. Secondary bid as that one was set into the middle by Goff. Deck with another defensive play that time, and she earns her team the possession and gets it out of the zone. Now we're going to get another card.
And we talked earlier in the game about hitting the ball away, and the official just said we're not going to have any of it, and so we're going to card you, and so a player is sent off for that infraction. And at this late in the game, that's unfortunate.
It's all the way out towards midfield now where Brown is ready. See some substitutions. Delp comes back in. Gross will get a rest. Taken right away by Harding. Tries to feed it on the near side, but couldn't quite get it to Walsh, but Brown called on the violation. Muller comes into the game first time for Temple. Again, they continue bringing fresh bodies out there. Old Dominion very fit, but not bringing a whole lot of folks in and out. We've seen Gregor come in and out. We've seen, certainly as she is in the game right now, we've seen Goff come in and out, and those two, on my words, check in and out for one another. So the freshman's back in now. Swept away quite violently by Bias.
And Chris, I like the rest that AJ gave Delp because I think that was a smart move. Delp has been a very critical part of this transition game for Temple, and she's coming in with 13 and a half minutes left. Got an opportunity to make a difference here in the remainder part of the game.
This possession set up by Tisha King, who just checked in, the junior from Australia. She too, like Breen from Melbourne. The Owls from their own end, two very good passes and already out towards midfield, but Utes got knocked away by Barahona. Slowed them down for a short time. Now she'll play it forward. Varane dribbling through traffic. Gets around one, top of the circle, looking for some shooting space, doesn't have it. She's ridden out of bounds. Ball goes with it, and ODU will get it back. Inside 13 minutes left to play. 2-1, much like the first time these two teams played one another. Old Dominion got out in front early. And to this point in the second half, we haven't seen a goal. That's right around this time when Walsh scored the game winner. And that first game between these two teams, 3-2, that all part of a 5-game winning streak for Old Dominion. Meanwhile, Temple bounced back and won 3 straight before losing to Connecticut in the regular season finale.
And it was a tightly contested game. That was a really, really good field hockey game.
Really, if anything, a heartbreaker because
Yes.
Temple had the lead. Temple, I think, probably felt incredibly well about themselves. It was UConn scoring 2 goals in the final 5 minutes.
Well, that's what it's going to take here for Old Dominion to come back because they had a real good sustained pressure there in the offensive end a few minutes ago. But right now they're sort of back, lulled themselves back into a little bit of a funk.
Bias, the Englishwoman, drives it up to midfield. What a play for Furman, who just had that one roll away from her. The look and the delivery was outstanding. Furman backs off that time. Good pass by Cronin to Brown. But Walsh got back at least enough to slow her down. Brown into the middle.
Oh.
Chance for a deflection as coming in was Muller. But it was read well by Hept, who got out, took the angle, and blocked off anything.
Beautiful read there. And again, a quick start, getting the ball down the field, just looking to put pressure on the goal.
How about that view by Brown? You know, AJ was very quick to point out what an emerging talent she is.
Absolutely.
She should feel comfortable here as well. She scored the game-winning overtime goal for Temple over Providence. One of 2 overtime games played by the Owls. Do you know where they lost?
I do not.
Drexel.
Drexel!
The current home
Overtime.
of Dr. Karen Weaver.
Yes,
It was
that would
indeed. They were 1-1 in OT this
That's
season.
right. Go Dragons.
You can say that because they don't have a chance of playing today because it's the
That's
Big
right.
East.
That's exactly right.
A nice move by Villagra into the middle. At the very last second, knocked away by Delp. Now Delp questions the call. From here, it looked good, but certainly the officials down there have a better look. Judy Strong on top of that one. And Millen's they've had quite a dialogue going back and forth all day, the two of them have. Millen, you know, a very talented senior and upperclassman. She knows what's going on. 2-time All Big East selection. And, of course, first team this year.
You got to love that confidence to be able to walk up to the official and say, are you sure? I mean, are you really sure about this? That's 82 games of experience talking right there. I think that's pretty neat.
Villagra, who created this chance, will be the insert. Gets it for Smither. Bias. Pass. Shot. What a diving save. Millen read the angle and got it with the arm.
She did a beautiful job of just laying out there, keeping her stick on the turf, just blocking the ball right over the end line. A terrific, terrific move.
Beautiful set piece put in place by Andrew Griffiths and the Old Dominion Monarchs. But the conference's #1 goalkeeper in terms of keeping the ball out of the cage. Shows you just why.
That's important.
You would know a thing or two about that. All-American goalkeeper yourself.
That's a great position. Here we go.
That one bounces away. There, defensively speaking, for Temple was Mazeros.
Come on, go. Look at two.
From the far side, inside of 9 minutes now left to play. That one off of Breen's stick, and for Ferran. Wanted to go outside. Well, she lulls the defender in and chips it by her, but again, Smither, so fast. Just what a good nose for the game, was in position.
Now this is interesting. Old Dominion just made 2 substitutions coming in. I'm looking for them to maybe spread the field a little bit, maybe hang out near the 25-yard line, try to draw some long passes.
Temple couldn't take advantage of that turnover, but now he has a chance for Deck. Plays it for Delp on the far side. She'll whack it into the middle. Barahona's there. Ferran tries to force her. Sends it to the outside. No, good give and go passing that time with Villagra and Smither. Crossfield pass took a little bit too long for Walsh, so she had to slow herself down. Chasing her down from behind was Muller. Breen moves it to the offensive third. Stood up by Muller. Now it's Walsh's chance. Threw it up high on Gross, who's back in.
Yeah, Paige Gross is doing a nice job of holding down that left side. That is not an easy side of the field to navigate as a deep defender.
Smither in the middle. That one hopped on her, so Temple will get it back. I asked you this a couple of moments ago. I'll ask you again now. 7 minutes left to go. What do you think about the pacing? Do you gamble now? Do you maybe leave it a little bit more out there when you typically would?
Well, that's what I was just saying. With those 2 subs that came in for Old Dominion, I was looking for them to more creep up towards the 25-yard line on the offensive end, trying to look for some deep passes. I'm not seeing it yet. You know, and Old Dominion has been known in the past to pull a goaltender and play with an extra field player, so we might see that in the last 5 minutes. So, you know, they've got to do something.
Temple right now is just looking for some insurance, but they've had things pretty well handled. They had that one penalty corner where the shot went off the crossbar. Other than that, it's been a Temple type of a half.
You know, they had that 5 or 7 minutes where they really dominated in the offensive 25, 30-yard line area. And you're right, they had the one off the crossbar. But since then, Temple has found a second gear, and they've come back at them.
Now, of course, there to answer the bell was Lizzie Millett.
Yeah, she's been tremendous. You just can't replace that kind of senior leadership in the back. And I know Temple has it across their back line, but it does make a difference in the goal.
I was just about to say both teams have a timeout in their pocket. Will we see one? We do. Clock stops, 6:08 left to go. It is 2-1 here in Providence, Rhode Island. It's the first of 2 semifinal games in the Big East Conference Tournament. We're live on the Big East Digital Network. Well, the bulk of this game was played in sunshine. We had some cloud coverage, and now as we come back from break, we see the sun splash back out on Lennon Family Field. 9 years old, this complex, which you can see the yellow lines used to be shared by the lacrosse team. No longer. It's all the field hockey's possession now, and you talked about it a moment ago, Coach. Bringing in that extra field player pulling the goaltender. Well, you've got him out there right now.
Absolutely. So you take the advantage of having an 11th field player, being able to move the ball around, and as we said, spreading out the team, using the entire length of the field, trying to pull Temple further apart.
You said you thought maybe at about the 5-minute mark. We get it 68 seconds earlier, 6:08 left to go.
Well, it's good to do it right out of a timeout because then you can get the organization together. It's very difficult to do it on the fly. So the player with the penny on for Old Dominion is the designated kicking back. So if for some reason she needs to play the ball in her defensive circle, she will be the one allowed to touch it with her feet.
Right out of the gate with possession.
Send it. Here we go.
Dealing with Schronk on the defensive side of things. Valagra lost control. Kroner will play it forward. That is Delp. Back into the game is Van Horn for Temple. See her sprinting down the middle of the field in the offensive end. Owls couldn't quite get it there. Barahona will move it back. Bias has been outstanding all afternoon. She'll send it to the near side. Harding, frustrated at times, but a very good performance too. That one off the legs of Van Horn. Still Walsh came forward. Tried to send away Gregor. It was knocked down by Deck, who's been very impressive in the second half. And now Gross on the push-in. 1 minute and 8 seconds now played without a goalkeeper. Not really much offense generated by the Monarchs. That one got through Valagra. Delp, she's got Gregor creeping from behind. Plays it to the far side, just too far out in front of Deck, who had that arm and the stick stretched out as far as she possibly could.
Sometimes, Chris, when this happens to a team and like Temple, where you see this odd number of people, you tend to panic and start doing things outside of your comfort zone. I don't see that right now with Temple.
Well, this is a team certainly very much on a mission. Walsh across the 30-yard line, inside the 25 and down to the extra player. That one popped up high. Temple's going to get it.
Again, Old Dominion needs to press here. They need to knock the ball down and field it cleanly and get it to an open player. They have an open player here.
Nice fake by Gross, who then Wallenda's the near sideline, plays it forward for Van Horn, but it got away from her. You mentioned earlier how everyone's getting so involved in this game. Temple, as you said, not really pressing right now. Although Delp sees an opportunity, tries to play it forward. That one, again, up high, a little bit on the dangerous side. So a chance now for Valagra. You can see just creeping ever so close in the edge of that circle is Dolan. Spin move, oh, how about that stuff by Valagra? How can you not be a fan? Dolan dives, tries to reel that one in, couldn't get to it.
Now
she gave it her all.
That was really smart because Dolan's been running the end line as the kicking back, the player with the green jersey on, and that's really what you want to do to try to pull Temple away from the top of the circle.
16-yard hit, softly thrown aside by Schronk.
Go get it.
Taken away by Smither out towards midfield, and now Walsh on the near side. It was Walsh who had the game winner last time when these two teams met. Right now, Old Dominion just needs a game-tying goal. Breen, you talked about that Breen machine and getting her going in the pregame, Coach. We haven't seen a lot of it. She certainly had plenty of touches, but not many real opportunities. The best on that one that was deflected high and hit the crossbar. Walks around two defenders, can't get through the third, but a corner is going to be called as Deck got in the way of Breen, who had a head of steam.
Breen's experience really paid off for Old Dominion there because she stayed down on the ball. Even though the fouls were coming, she kept moving the ball into the circle, creating opportunities, but only a little bit more than 2 minutes left here.
Gregor will insert. Smither is there, the stick stop, and you've got three options. Bias, Breen, and Valagra all can drill it, and Dolan is on the left side, right side Walsh. All the way back, Rosette. She's got the lone goal. Scored it all the way back in the first. Valagra read by Brown, knocked away momentarily. Breen, a chance. Valagra drives. She sends it high.
Wow. I got to give credit for Brown there for Temple. She did it. Maya Brown did an amazing job as the flyer on that particular play. She really disrupted Old Dominion's penalty corner.
Valagra put that one through the uprights on top of the cage, about 6 feet over it. And now a 16-yard hit with 91 seconds left to play. Temple looking for their third berth in a conference championship final game under 10-year head coach Amanda Janney. This would be her 114th career victory. Trouble on that right side by Hempt, but she's able to fight through the defense and get it to Gross. Another self-start. She'll take her time, drive it forward. That one hopping around all over the place. Last touch by one of the Monarchs.
Yeah, if you're Temple right now, you're in no hurry to get this ball back into play.
Meanwhile, you're on the offensive end and no keeper. Hempt will send it forward, again deflected. Couple of sticks, Barahona slows it down for Smither. Knocked away by Ferran. Smither gets it back inside the final minute. Gross and Barahona. A beautiful chip pass to her right for Villagra, but she couldn't get the speed going. Deck reaches in, pulls it away.
Smart play. Again, just being heads up around the ball. Old Dominion looking a little panicky right now. Just a little bit full of emotion.
Poor Tricia Light. That one is going to sting in the morning.
Nicely saved by Old Dominion there, but still, Temple comes up with it.
Yutz. She scored from just inside that circle in the first half. Will it hold up? Final 20 seconds from Lennon Family Field. Schronk will get back there ahead of Dolan. Plays it off of Dolan. She says it trickled out. The umpires agree. 7 seconds left to go. Temple will go back to the conference tournament finals. Not quite an upset, but number 3 upends number 2. And the Owls cement a place in the finals on Sunday.
Should be a great game, depending on who advances, but regardless, Temple has to be happy with their results today. They started off a little bit slow, but they built momentum as the game went on. Got 2 terrific goals, and then withstood the Old Dominion barrage at the end of the game.
A variety of emotions right now being seen on the Old Dominion team. You've got a couple of players who can't even stand up. Barahona, emotional on the far side of the field, just squats down by herself on her knees. Sarah Breen, and walking off a moment ago, almost inconsolable, Caitlin Walsh. These are all players who are coming back. You see how important it is to them just this year, this game. And they're showing this type of emotion. Villagra, look at how upset she is. Now this, her final game. And the team comes together collectively as they get ready for the handshake at the end of the game. How about the careers of some of these players? Katie Furman, you see her. And the sportsmanship is obvious right behind her. Gregor, she's got a long slate left to go in the NCAA, and for Old Dominion, there you see Walsh just put so much into the game. Hept was very good today. Unfortunately, Temple was just a little bit better. They came back, got the equalizer, and once they got that first goal by Ferran, which was set up beautifully by Gross, it was their game. And that bullet by Yutz, you just can't defend that.
You can't defend it, and we know that Old Dominion had several very good chances, but really the Fire in the Belly Today award goes to Temple. They just really were hungry at this game, and I think at times Old Dominion's emotions just overtook them, and they lost their focus, and it came down to basic skills and being able to execute under pressure.
2-1 the final score. Number 3 Temple upsets number 2 Old Dominion. It's game 1 of the Big East Championships in field hockey on the Big East Digital Network.